Welcome to the Authentic Health Coaching Show. My name is Tom Corson-Knowles, founder of Authentic Health Coaching. Hey, if you haven't visited us over at AuthenticHealthCoach.com, please do. We have an amazing free report for you with Dr. Corson's top 5 nutrition tips. It is the #1 guide to taking your health to the next level. And today on the show, we have an amazing guest, Lauren Miller, who is a world-renowned expert on stress relief and stress management, and she is the author of the best-selling Release Your Stress series of books, and she's got her newest book, 99 Things You Wish You Knew Before Stressing Out, which just released recently and became an international bestseller. And Lauren's just an amazing, amazing person. She is like the female Deepak Chopra, and in this show she shares so much unbelievable life wisdom with you that will help you not only live a happier, more successful life, but a healthier life. So enjoy the show and take wonderful notes and make it an amazing day.
Thanks so much for being on the Authentic Health Coaching Show today, Lauren. Why don't you tell our viewers a little bit more about yourself and how you got involved in stress relief and stress management?
Sure, no problem. I really feel like my journey began when I was a teenager. I just had such a curiosity and fascination about what makes people click and connect and disconnect, and as well as what causes people to shut down in life. So that kind of, I got the opportunity to explore that with psychology when I went to CU Boulder, which was a wonderful experience, being a Long Islander, come out here to beautiful Colorado, and just expanded after with some post-grad work, and then in the areas of anxiety management and stress relief, and 20 years later, still doing the same thing, empowering men and women with the skills and techniques needed to de-stress their lives, no matter what surrounds them. And it's interesting that not only has my curiosity led to what I do in the world, but also my own personal experience. You know, my company today, I really put together about 12 years ago, and then about 5 years ago found myself facing 2 of the top stressors at the same time, cancer and divorce. So in less than 2 years, I was given the opportunity to walk through the experience of divorce, a double mastectomy, 16 chemos, 6 weeks of daily radiation, an additional year of chemo, and 12 surgeries due to third-degree burns on my chest. They had to graft my back onto my front. And then I had a MRSA staph infection. I got to experience 2 out-of-body experiences in the midst of that as well, which was very expanding on all levels. And so, you know, all of that in less than 2 years kind of gave me the PhD, the life experience into everything that I had been teaching and learning about for nearly 20 years. So now today, I just launched my 4th book in June, and I am about to launch Stress Solutions University, which is an online video site empowering men and women with the skills needed to de-stress, no matter what surrounds them, including death. I included that because I went through that myself. So it's been an incredible, incredible journey, and I'm just grateful to be a part of it. To be honest with you, you know, every new day I hit my knees and just thank God for another opportunity to learn how to love better and to inspire and encourage humanity to remember the things that they forgot that lead to inner peace and calm and connection and awareness of their ability to handle any situation, no matter what unfolds before them.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well, it just sounds like you've gone through so much with the divorce and the cancer and all the surgeries and all the chemo and radiation that you went through. I mean, a lot of other people are going through that now. I mean, there's so many people now with cancer and heart disease and suffering from all these chronic diseases today. And what would you say to someone who's in that situation right now? What would you say to them to encourage them and to inspire them and to help them heal from that?
Well, you know, I think awareness is key to shift. So, I mean, understanding the effects of stress. A landmark study out of the University of London concluded that stress is a stronger contributing factor to cancer and heart disease than cigarette smoking and high cholesterol foods. So, knowing that as a human being, to take action on that and to invest in de-stressing on a daily basis. And I was actually just writing an article about this on my recent book, 99 Things You Wish You Knew Before Stressing Out. The reason why I included 99 things was not because all the 99 things worked for me. I've I definitely used many of these techniques, but every human being is unique. And so taking into consideration your uniqueness and what causes you to linger in life, what causes you to pause for a moment and reflect, because those are indications as well as invitations to move back into a remembrance of something about yourself that brings you calm. And we all have those moments. We all have those moments as we travel through our day of lingering. Something catches our eye. We hear something beautiful. We listen to a song or we have a conversation with someone and we walk away just on a higher plane, on a higher level. And if we become conscious human beings and the observer of these sacred moments in life, then we will see expansion in that area, because the reticular activating system, which is located in the brainstem, is an incredibly powerful tool. And if we know how to use it, we can actually program it with all that is beautiful, right, true, and praiseworthy in this life versus the worry, doubt, and the fear. And we have the ability to do that every day simply by what our choice of focus. Whatever our choice of focus is, we're going to see more of that in life. I mean, just taking that one aspect, the programming of the reticular activating system, which is that small piece and located at the brain stem that's responsible for behavioral motivation. And it's it's input-output. Whatever you are putting in terms of your focus, you're going to see it manifest around you. You'll be able to tune into those things that are working out for you or those things that are not working out for you based on your perception of safety. You're going through. I just had a client this morning I was working with, who's stage 4, and she has a choice of focus. Okay, so here are the elements that have unfolded before her. She can choose to walk in fear, doubt, or worry, or she can choose to, remember the strength that she's used throughout her journey of life to overcome the unfamiliar in life and to stay acutely present, moment to moment, and to focus on what is working out versus what's not. And I do remember this personally because there was times when physiologically speaking, I was wiped out, and I'm a second-degree black belt in Taekwondo and have practiced martial arts for 15 years and been an instructor and competed in the Colorado State Championships and all of that. And so as an athlete, I definitely prided myself in my my physical strength. However, that was compromised as a result of all the treatment that I went through. And I remember laying in fetal position one time in my bed and just dealing with the chemo through my body, and I was just shaking. And I just remember saying to myself, all right, this is an opportunity for me to move through a limitation. So physically I'm taken out right now, but spiritually, as my son said when he caught me crying one time at the loss of my hair, he came in and said, Mom, don't cry, your soul still has hair. And it was a very profound shift because my soul remained untouched, and I could pull from the strength of my soul at any moment. And so I started to focus on and actually verbalize out loud, I can see, thank you, God, that I can see, that I actually have vision, that I'm able to communicate love to my children, that I'm able to respond to them, verbally, and as they came over to my bed, I was able to embrace them. Thanks be to God for that. So, I would consciously make the shift to focusing on what I did have going for myself. And also, I had the big thing that you have at any point that you forget is your ability to tune into all available options. Because when you're stressed, your options, your perceived options become very limited. People refer to it as tunnel vision, and they use universal quantifiers when they're stressed out. Stressed out human beings use universal quantifiers. This always happens. This will never work out. I will never be healed. I am done. Nothing will ever come to change this particular outcome. Anytime we say nothing, nobody, everyone, everything, just know it's coming from a place of lack and scarcity. And so when we're moving from a place of lack and scarcity, as Henry Ford said, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. So just be aware. Sometimes I'll consciously be aware of my energy of victimization, and I'll say to myself, yourself, look at you. You are totally freaking out right now, and you're in a place of victimization. And simply dragging out, as Jesus says, drag it out into the light. Whatever's exposed to the light heals. And so the ruthless honesty with yourself and being the narrator of yourself gives you that little gap of empowerment to be the observer or the watcher of the events that unfold before you versus the reactor. When you're in the reactor mode, you're just pulling from your 95% of your reactive unconscious programming, and you're just basically robotic. You're just responding from past fears, doubts, worries, parts of yourself that you farmed out to the world around you, and you can look at it at any point as an opportunity and an invitation to remember the parts of you that you are simply forgetting in this moment because you're moving from a reactive place versus an empowered place of curiosity and fascination. What can I learn from this situation? And I speak this with conviction because I had to do it myself. And I walked through it myself. Not only have I encouraged hundreds and hundreds of human beings to remember this, but personally I've walked through this and know the struggle and know the voice. You can do this. No, you can't. Yes, you can. No, you can't. You go back and forth, and then you remember. There's a little rainbow at the end of the storm, and you remember. Oh my goodness, I've overcome in spite of myself. And then you open up the doors to more options and possibilities. You become a curious and fascinated human being versus a human being that's stuck in assumptions and victimization. You have that choice any moment. Which side do you choose? And I remember coming to the conclusion that it's a lot better being a curious and fascinated human being versus a human being that was stuck in the place of victimization, that it did not serve my health and well-being to stay in that place. And with that said, giving myself permission to love and accept myself in the midst of that victimization. Because when you resist loving and accepting yourself in any moment in life, then you close down the hatches. All of the available options are out of your focus. And so even though you're freaking out, even though you don't accept this, even though you don't accept that the doctor said you're going to die, even though you don't accept that you lost your job, be willing to explore the possibility of accepting yourself in the midst of the unacceptance, because then you will drop the antics and all of the things that you do in order to try to pretend that you're capable of handling it in the midst of the fear, doubt, and worry, and you're able to give yourself a little gap of empowerment to choose to remember who you are and what you're capable of.
Wow, that's just so powerful. I'm just blown away by that. I was just at a leadership retreat a few weeks ago, and one of the things we talked about over and over again was a little mantra we have called "It is what it is," and just accepting everything for the way it is right now. And if you have a cancer, or if you've got a diagnosis, or if you're going through divorce or something stressful in your life, accepting it for what it is, because, like you said, when you spend all that time resisting what's going on, you're just in such a disempowered state, and it just creates all this stress in your body. And like you said, you get that tunnel vision, and you can't think of new opportunities and new possibilities for action. But when you really just accept for things for the way they are, I've got cancer, stage 4, it is what it is. What can I do about it now? How can I give more love to my family now? How can I give more love to myself now? How can I take a step today to improve my health now? And I think that's so important. What you talk about is what you focus on is what you're going to get in life. And so why don't you share a little bit more about that? I mean, what are some of the questions you ask yourself, or the mantras that you use, or the strategies or tips that you have to shift from that place of victimization to a place of empowerment?
Well, I kind of have like the main one that I say every day. Well, first of all, with each new dawn, I hit my knees and I just thank God for a new dawn, that my lungs are working, that my heart is beating, and because of that, I am given before me stands the opportunity from the moment that sun comes up to the moment it sets. I am given the opportunity for expansion in the ways of love, because I can assure you this, that when the soul leaves the body, the only thing that it's aware of is love. How did I love? How well did I love? How well did I love myself? How well did I love those around me? How well did I inspire those human beings that crossed my path? How well did I forgive? Did I release? Did I accept what was? Those are the things you contemplate. So knowing that, then coming back to, okay, this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. As you're in that day, what I do is I just align myself right at the get-go of the morning with what I value most. What do I value most? I value my soul the most, because I've seen the strength and the power of my soul's ability to carry my carcass through the dark night of the soul. That's the only way to describe it. I remember standing before myself, just totally stripped. I mean, I had no hair, completely bald, no eyebrows, eyelashes, no breasts. You couldn't tell if I was male or female. It was the craziest experience. However, it was the most empowering experience because for the first time I saw the power of my soul. I remember looking into my eyes and realizing how hazel they were. I never really looked into my eyes, but I also remember talking to myself and saying, you are a human being who is choosing life and love no matter what surrounds her. And because of that, you have overcome and will continue to overcome again and again and again, because you are giving your soul permission to guide your flesh versus giving your flesh permission to guide your soul. And I've worked with many, many human beings that are shut down in the flesh, and by that I mean they are giving the fear, the doubt, the worry permission to define who they are. So first and foremost, to remember that you are, as many of as Chardin, I believe he was the French mystic who originally said, we are first and foremost spiritual beings having a physical experience. To remember that is so empowering throughout your day, because in the spirit, it is limitless. The possibilities are limitless, and when you move from the five senses, which hold the potential to shut you down very quickly in terms of what you see, feel, hear, touch, and then you give it permission to define who you are. Be very careful. Be a wise human being. Choose wisely what you focus on and what you remember in your life journey. Because when you do just make that small shift, I remember, I'm spirit first. So this is an opportunity for me to remember that even more profoundly. I'm not my hair. I'm not my breasts. I'm not the boss's response to me today. Not who I am. That's their life experience. And so as I sit and observe all these crazy antics that people play in their drug of approval, which keeps us totally entrapped in the physical realm, which is only limited to the finite game of life versus the infinite games of life. So the other thing that I'll say too that kind of instantly puts things in perspective in terms of where I choose to focus on in my day. And I do not always follow this. However, this is definitely something that I've had on my wall since I was 16 years old. It comes from Leo Buscaglia's work, Living, Loving, and Learning. And I was just read his work when I was a teenager, and it just made so much sense to me. But one of his sayings was, people before things. People before things, before your agenda, people before things, before your ambitions, before your desire to make the sale, before your desire to be seen, acknowledged, recognized, all of that. People before that. And by that, it's the invitation for connection. And those are two of the core needs as human beings, is to connect, your sense of connection and your sense of safety. When you feel safe and connected, you walk away from the situation on a higher plane. If you walk away and you don't feel safe and connected, then you will be cowering in the shadows of fear, doubt, and worry. Oh, my goodness, what do they think of me? Because what they think of me is who I am. Hogwash. It's absolutely hogwash, and yet we all remain imprisoned by that on a daily basis when we can be moving in the freedom and ease of our spirit, knowing ourselves to be capable of moving mountains, knowing ourselves to be able to love in all situations, and that love does overcome all fear, and that fear and love can exist together, and yet love wins out in the end. And I say that because it's, again, accepting yourself exactly where you're at without the inner critic or negative intonation that you use in your inner voice. Oh, you shouldn't feel this way. Oh, you shouldn't be upset. You should be able to handle that. Who says? Where are you right now? Where are you today? How about just loving yourself right where you're at, even in the midst of your worry, doubt, and fear, and then use all of that pent-up energy you spent resisting where you're at to tune into new options, new possibilities, available contacts, reaching out and making the connections needed to expand wherever God is calling you to go. One of my prayers is, Dear God, move the hearts of those people meant to be moved to clear the path for me to go where I'm called to go. Because it's all about connections. And if you love the human being first, then the doors will open. In any situation. And I've applied this in very difficult situations, in the midst of betrayal, in the midst of fraud, all of that kind of stuff, just in my short journey of life. And any time I made the conscious decision to choose to remain in the space of love and acceptance of myself, and then extend that to the human being in front of me, I have never walked away empty-handed, ever. And so that's why I can definitely say that is a good choice, and also to look at all of life from a place of curiosity and fascination. I mentioned that before, but just even making that conscious decision today, I am going to be a curious and fascinated human being. I'm going to look at every single thing that pops up in front of my face from a place of curiosity. How can I expand? How can I grow in the waves of love? How can I make a deeper connection here? How can I learn how to die to the ego, edging God out, as many people have referred to? And the ego simply is the part that is forgotten, its attachment to God and the ability to move mountains. That's all. So it's just an invitation to remember. The only work that I do in this world, and people say, oh, my goodness, the work that you're doing in this world, the only thing that I'm doing in this world, it's actually quite simple. I simply, as a teacher, I just guide people back to themselves as connected to God before all the false beliefs, limitations, and all of the negative thinking overshadowed their remembrance of their capability as connected to God, which we once knew during the age of enlightenment of 0 to 5 years old. We didn't have the fear of walking into rooms and asking for what we want and for reconciling and sharing our feelings, negative or positive, and then moving toward back to love. You ever watch a bunch of kindergartners, because my some of my graduate work was in child development, and just the age between 0 and 5 years old, when they're so acutely aware of the single frequency that they just came from, God and them, and there's no fear. They go for what they want, and you watch this, and then they're told, you can't do that. You can't. It's not right to express your anger. You can't express yourself that way. There's no imaginary friends. Well, who's to say the imaginary friends aren't the residue of the spiritual world from which they just came? All these things, the programming gets shut down. And so as we remember it, oh, my goodness, then we step back into the experience of remembrance, and we feel liberated. We can skip, we can sing, we can hop. Life becomes enjoyable again. We can reach out and make friends instantly, because we are loving the human being first rather than having an alternative agenda of being seen, acknowledged, and recognized. I'll tell you what, I've seen it all. I mean, in terms of my short period of life on Earth, top executives, running huge corporations, and the reason why they continue to expand effortlessly is because they see the human being first. They make the connection, because the connections are what open the doors. It's not oh, wow, this is a great program you have here. No, it's the connection. What experience did they walk away from after being in your midst? What kind of experience did you create? Was it one of openness and love and safety and acceptance? If so, that person will be back again. It's like a good restaurant. They will come back. So, anyway,
Yeah.
That's just a few of my mantras. I have a whole slew of them in my book, Release the Stress Around Breast Cancer. I think I have 123 mantras that I used and had taped around my room during the experience of cancer. So,
wow. You know, I think it's so true what you're talking about, connection and connecting with other people and being totally connected with other people. And, you know, also what you're talking about with children, where, you know, I just celebrated my niece's 2-year-old second birthday this past weekend. And she was
great.
playing with this toy, and it's like, you know, you press a button and the toy plays a different song, and she would play the song and then start dancing. And so I started dancing with her, but like, you know, the whole family is just sitting there watching the two of us dance, but none of them else wanted to dance. And
you know, of course, because they were told that's not appropriate. Sit down.
Exactly, that's the thing. And I think one of the things that causes so much of the stress that people have is they're suppressing all these emotions and urges and sensations that they have.
Exactly, that's it.
Yeah. So how do you go about kind of releasing that, and getting back to that childhood?
Like anybody that would be listening to this, you know, including ourselves, you know, make today a schoolhouse of opportunity to remember what it's like not to weigh your response to life based on worrying about what people think. Mm-hmm. If you can respond to life without the fear of what will people think, watch how your world expands. And the humor and delight, moments of delighting in just simply your body and being alive on Earth will return. Because we've been so shut down, you know, told, you know, that's not appropriate, you can't do that, or, you know, or we've been so conditioned for that we have to excel in life, you know, from little on. You know, you can watch TV after you do this. So you have to work for the enjoyment of something that you like to do, or you can go play with your friends after you do this. So we get this kind of inner judgment of ourselves. I don't deserve to relax and enjoy life. I mean, Italy is one of my favorite places. You just go hang out in Italy for a little bit, and you can pick that up because they enjoy life. They enjoy life on a level that we don't. We have such an incredible work ethic, which is great. You know, there's always positives on both ends of the spectrum. However, we can definitely learn a little bit about the enjoyment and pausing and lingering in those moments that refresh our soul. We don't do that enough.
So do you think that's the key then, is just being present to those moments and getting back to that kind of innocence? Is that really the key to better health?
Oh, I definitely think so. Mm-hmm. Exploring the ways to reconnect to the, as I mentioned before, the flow of life. To, you know, one of the blocks lies in our obsessive need to define life, to analyze, interpret, conclude, define. You know, I need to understand why this happened. You know, the whyology that keeps us stuck in victimization. Why do you need to understand? It is what it is. Let's move on to the life in front of your face. You know, well, because if I understood, would it really make that much of a difference if you understood? Would it really? Because you're in that energy. Once you're in an energy pattern, it will usually seep over into other things once that's resolved. So why not choose to be curious and fascinated about all of life and to give yourself permission, if you do have an urge to explore, to reach out to someone, to communicate, to ask a question, to admit, you know what, I don't know the answer to that, or I would like to know more information about that, and let go of the drug of approval that started when we were young. As soon as someone clapped and said, wow, that's such a great dance you're doing, you said to yourself, that feels good. So if I do more of this dance, then I'll get recognition. So I'll just keep dancing. The problem is we've started dancing other people's dances, and we lost ourselves in the midst of it all, or not lost ourselves, but forgotten ourselves because of our obsessive, compulsive need for recognition and to be acknowledged and approved of. You know, what would our lives look like if we woke up tomorrow and knew ourselves to be enough and that we've already made it, And so we're just exploring that experience of knowing ourselves to have made it in this life and truly being missionaries of love on earth to remind people of the things that they forgot. And that can only come from reconnecting to that innocent freedom that comes from giving yourself permission to experience life rather than trying to define it. And defining just comes from fear. I need to define it because then I'll know who I am. Who would I be if I wasn't defining? Who would I be if I wasn't analyzing and interpreting and concluding? And if they didn't tell me who I was, who would I be? So even with all of that, anytime you have a emotional charge inside your body because of something another human being says or does, I just encourage you to step back and look at the ways that you are farming out your sense of identity to that situation, and to remember that you are enough just as you are, as connected to God, that you are capable of maintaining inner peace. You're just forgetting at the moment because you're giving whatever it is that seems threatening the power to define you. Oh my gosh, I'm the cancer. The cancer's become me. No, the cancer is just a situation. The way I looked at it was an opportunity to grow in the ways of connecting to my God-given strength to be able to overcome. And it did. It gave me the most profound opportunity, day in and day out, to remember my God-given strength, to the power of the Spirit that dwells within my being, to remember, oh my goodness, I can overcome that, and that, and that, and that. And then you start moving from a place of just this profound sense of not needing to prove to the world around you that you exist or that you're enough, because you move from the place of remembrance. Because as a little 2-year-old, and as you saw your niece, she's not wondering if she's enough. It's not even on her radar. She's enough. She's just responding to life. She's just literally responding in a way from a place of inner freedom, not reactive responding. She's just responding the way she feels moved to respond in the present moment. So yes, to answer your question, presence is essential for inner peace. And the more I feel, the more uncertain your external circumstances seem to be from your perception, the more essential it is that you make the choice for presence. Here I am. I am sitting on the phone. I am talking to you. We are sharing about something that perhaps will inspire another human being's heart. This is it. This is the moment of life. We don't have the past or the future, and we're breathing. Thanks be to God. We're able to communicate. Our vocal cords work. We're able to think and reason and move from a place of our life experience and perhaps share something that will inspire another human being along the way. And so you become very acute as it's a technique of narration. You begin to, when you're really stressed out and you have the deer in the headlights, stress is simply a signal within your body giving you the opportunity to identify and adjust your perception of any situation. So here you are. Here's the situation. Identify it, okay? My boss said this to me, and it makes me feel what? Undermined, overlooked, unseen, unrecognized. Usually it'll fall from one of those categories. Okay, so what do you know to be true about yourself, pulling from your life experience? Has there ever been a time when you've experienced anything that contradicts those statements, that you're not enough? Well, yeah, because I did this, I accomplished that. We'll pull from that. Because anytime that you can punch holes in your impoverished view of reality, you're given the opportunity to shift your perception, and you'll start creating a new neural pathway or neuro-linguistic programming. You can be the programmer. It just takes awareness and sometimes shock to get you out of the negative programming. I've done some crazy things with my clients, when they're just in the drone of negativity, to actually shock them out of it. Scream, yell, say something that just shocks them enough to just bounce them out of the negative neural pathway they're in, and then they can start creating a new one.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think that's so true, that sometimes people do need to be shocked because, it's like we become so numb or just so used to all the stress and all the frustration and anger and anxiety that we go through and all the fear. And it's like we almost forget that we're afraid. We almost forget that we're stressed out. So, you talk about stress being a signal. What are some other signals that people can look for in their life, circumstances, feelings, situations that they can look at in their life to say, how much stress am I really facing now? Because I think so many people have kind of become blind to that. They don't even, you ask them if they're stressed, and they'll say, yeah, I think so, but they don't really know how much and how big of a toll it's taking on their life. So how can someone really get focused on that and develop that self-awareness to see, how much it's really affected them?
I would really say, the place where the stress creeps in is cognitively speaking, in your ability to process information. Because when you use expressions like, I feel like a deer in the headlights, I just can't think straight, I feel fragmented, I can't breathe, I need a break. These are all things that your body's talking to you or inviting you to remember that you're not your circumstances. You are not the response of the world around you. It's inviting you to remember that. And what's amazing about making the mental shifts, and you can use a bunch of different energy psychologies, which I encourage you to use. Energy psychology is very powerful. And as Dr. Bruce Lipton, when I listened to his information and after studying the power of energy psychology for several years myself, and then getting a hold of his work and hearing him say, you have these programs on a like a tape recorder, and it's like screaming at the tape recorder, stop thinking that, or stop hitting yourself. Why are you hitting yourself? Like that one movie, The Love Guru. It's an invitation to actually go in and change the energy around the belief, because unless you actually re-record over the old program, it will continue to show up. It'll be the same theme, different people, different faces, same theme. That's why people see often habitual habits and choice of partners in relationships, because there's an old programming that you think that is you. And so to get in there and to reprogram the belief about yourself that you have that's causing you the physical strain in your life, then you will be able to start shifting to a new perspective of self. But I think the key thing, again, is to be the observer of your body. Are you breathing deeply? And when you breathe, do you have a sense that you're using the full expansion of your lungs? Because one of the first places that stress hits is shallow breathing. And when we do not take a deep breath, then our cells are not being fully oxygenated. And as we all know, dis-ease within the body is fueled by inflammation, decreased oxygenation at the cellular level, and increased stress hormones in the body. So our compromised immune system, resulting in compromised immune system. So how do you boost the immune system? How do you oxygenate the cells? How do you decrease inflammation? There's many different things. For decrease of the inflammation, just a quick technique they can do is do the rebounding activities, or in the shaking therapy or shaking medicine used by the Bushmen in Africa, they actually stomp their feet and shake their body. And so I've kind of brought that into my practice as to when something's got you stuck in life, to actually move. Imagine it at the center of your body and start shaking it, visualize it breaking into millions of different pieces and out through your hands, your head, your feet, and you're stomping it and shaking it out. And then if you can add a vibration like a or a humming or an exhale, as you'll often see, if you kind of explore the Bushman movements and just the guttural sounds of the and even many different cultures that do that, it's a release. And I know with Taekwondo, where you get your greatest power and strength from is when you can, they call it a kiosk, when you breathe out, when you're extending in your movement. And so if you just, jump up and down and shake at least once a day for 3 minutes, you will help decrease the inflammation and storage of excess water around your organs. It has profound physiological benefits. As a stress reliever, I go out on our tramp. We have our 3 kids. We have a tramp out front, and so I'll go as part of my morning exercise and make sure that I bounce for at least 3 minutes a day and breathe deeply and just release and let go. And bouncing is also, if you do have a tramp or can get a hold of one of those little rebounders. It's very powerful because it symbolizes letting go. Just let it go, let it go, let it go. And then you return to a place of peace. And then a quick way is to actually breathe in and then just hum on the exhale. And as you're humming, it's enough of a physical vibration in the body to break your neural pathway of negativity. If you find you're just stuck on a negative thought and you keep repeating it over and over and over again, try doing that, because it's enough of a vibration to give you that little gap of empowerment to say, this does not serve my well-being. Perhaps I can choose different intonation with myself. Perhaps I can remember a portion in my life, a moment in my life that contradicts this negative statement that I'm saying about myself. So you can actually become your own guide back to remembering who you are. But that humming, we automatically do it. Many of us, when we're, wanting to soothe ourselves, will just let out a sigh. Well, it has profound physiological benefits just simply doing that. So there's many different ways, but the key thing is to be present. Be present to what it is that you're perceiving. So identify that which is causing the shallow breathing, that which is causing the tension in the neck, in the stomach. And I've talked to many people who are like, I'm not stressed out. And what's been very, very interesting to me is as I observe those same human beings, once we get into the physiology of the body, and they're wondering why the leg pain, why the pelvic pain, why the back pain, why the lack of clarity of thinking when they're surrounded by a group of people, all of those things, they realize, wow, never even knew that that's how stress manifested itself. So if you don't feel that you're at your top potential in terms of your ability to reason on the spot, no matter what comes towards you, and I mean moving from your heart and your life experience, then there's some blocks there. Once you relieve those blocks, then the world is your oyster. It truly is. Because you walk into any situation, you will call any human being up. And if you feel that you have something of value, you will not question asking for help or direction, or do you want to be a part of this? You will not question it, because it's coming from a place of remembering you that doesn't have all the energetic disruptions, fear, doubt, and worry.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right about that. It's fascinating. You talked about the Bushmen and how they do their dance, and I was with a Lakota man, Lakota Native Americans, a couple weeks ago.
Yes, that's awesome.
And they do something called, it's just a dance that they do, and that's exactly what they do. They stomp on the ground, and they and the way that they tell the story,
they'll be breathing out,
and they do all the yelling and the chanting and all that. And what they say is that they're releasing all that negative energy down through the earth, and then bringing in the positive energy up from the heavens, from the sky.
That's what you're doing.
And same thing with Native Americans in South America that I was with. They do the same exact thing. So it's like all these different cultures kind of know this. It's just common knowledge of them. And this is just what they do to get centered, to get grounded, to be present, to live a happy, spiritual, successful life. And I think
exactly,
we've just kind of lost touch with that today in America and all the developed countries.
We've become very rigid. And, it's interesting. If you watch the progression of the human body, when we start, we can take our feet and wrap them around our head as little infants. The flexibility is phenomenal. And then metaphorically, the flexibility starts to diminish when we worry about what will people think. Our flexibility, we become disconnected from flexibility. Flexibility to dance, to sing, to explore, to have fun, to play. Why can't adults play? We've just gotten so caught in our head, and I speak to myself this way. Remember to play, because anytime that I do one of the Native American dances or the Bushman movement, anytime I do that, I always end up cracking myself up. I'm laughing. I'm cracking myself up as I'm stomping around the house, taking a stress relief break, and breathing in the oxygen, and laughter, decreases the blood pressure and increases the immune system, and just brings about clarity of thinking and releases all kinds of endorphins within the body that fight dis-ease and rigidity. I mean, what happens in the end when our soul leaves our body? Completely rigid. So as much as we can practice, it's truly practicing emotionally, physically, and spiritually flexibility in life. from a place of love, brings about an incredible opportunity. Everything becomes excitement, just like a little kindergartner walking into new situations, or even before that. They start worrying a little bit in kindergarten, what will people think? So even going back to the age of 2 and 3 years old, and just the exploration, of everything is an opportunity for learning and growth, every single thing. So, wow, we have another day of life. No wonder they get up at 5 in the morning. They don't want to miss one moment of living.
Absolutely. And you're talking about flexibility. It reminds me of the metaphor between the willow tree and the oak. We had some big storms here recently, and we lost like 10 or 12 oak trees. But the willow trees, they're fine. Nothing happens to them because they are so flexible. And I think you're right.
Flexible.
That's one of the
wow,
keys to life.
That's great. That's great, Tom. That's a great analogy. I love that.
Yeah.
You're right. The flexibility. That's true, because I've contemplated the aspens out here and the ability to bend and to wind and all of that, and just how crucial flexibility and flow is to life. Because if you think of even a body of water and how stagnant it becomes if it loses the flow coming in from a stream and going out, that nurtures life on all levels. So life is meant to be experienced and not defined. And once we realize that and realize we've already made it, we're already okay, and you know this, when your soul leaves your body, you know this instantly. It's almost like a feeling of, the only way I could describe it is it's almost like a feeling of, I remember when I dropped back into my body, of like embarrassment of all the antics that I had been playing out, fueled by fear, doubt, and worry, when all the while I was always okay. So whether I live or die, it's no big deal. So, it's amazing what we put ourselves through.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
Absolutely. I think that's right. Our biggest obstacle is oftentimes ourselves. It's not the cancer or the things that are going on in our lives.
Oh, no.
Ourselves.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I know we've only got a couple minutes left. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about your new book, 99 Things You Wish You Knew Before Stressing Out, and how our listeners can get more information about you and what you do.
Sure, no problem. My main website is laurenemiller.com, and on that has all the information on my books, and as well as the blog. And I actually have, if you go to the media section, I have a bunch of demonstrations and other stress relief tips that you can watch. And I believe, there's a link to my YouTube channel there, so you can get a lot of free guidance with addictions and cravings and things like that. In terms of the Stress Solutions University, the main page is actually up and running. It's stresssolutionsuniversity.com, stresssolutionsuniversity.com, and if you want 9 free videos, we're offering a bonus for the celebration of the launch. You can go to stresssolutionsU, the letter U, bonus.com, and just sign up, and you'll get 9 quick stress relief videos just addressing different aspects of life that are taught by me. So that's kind of what we're doing to invite people in to take back their ability to maintain the inner peace.
That's awesome. Well, I know if anyone, the river was stagnant today, it's definitely flowing by now after all the great wisdom that you share with us.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah,
I'm grateful to be here to be able to speak it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today, Lauren.
Thanks, Tom. Have a beautiful day.